Благодарю вас, господин председатель, и благодарю вас за эту инициативу.
80 years ago, with my country playing a key role, German Nazism and Japanese militarism were crushed, with the People's Republic of China making a special contribution to the victory. This victory made it possible to establish the United Nations, which the Founding Fathers charged with saving future generations from the scourge of war and promoting social progress. Adherence to the principles enshrined in the UN Charter in their entirety and in their interrelationship, is the guarantee of peaceful and progressive development for all states without exception, both large and small. Failure to comply with the principles of the Charter is a manifestation of neo-colonial ambitions, which leads to increased global instability and multiplies regional conflicts. Numerous crises in Africa, many of which have been inherited from colonial times, when borders were drawn literally with a ruler and without any consideration of ethnic or religious factors, have remained unresolved for decades. Another striking example is the crisis in Ukraine provoked by the West, through which NATO and the EU have declared a real war on my country and are directly participating in it. The escalation in the Middle East is another example. The unprecedented, terrible humanitarian catastrophe in Gaza has already claimed the lives of 65,000 people. Some UN staff working in the Middle East say there are estimates indicating that the number of victims is 10 times higher. None of Israel's neighbors can feel safe. We see this every day. In turn, unilateral economic sanctions that grossly violate the UN Charter, tariff wars, direct blackmail of participants in international trade, and gross violations of WTO rules not only hit the most vulnerable and unprotected segments of the population, but also pose a serious threat to the global economy as a whole, including through market fragmentation and supply chain disruptions. In December this year, we will mark the 65th anniversary of the adoption by the UN General Assembly of the Declaration on the Granting of Independence to Colonial Countries and Peoples. It is clear that genuine democratization of the world order and global economic relations would be in the interests of all humanity. The steadily growing role and importance of such global governance structures as BRICS and the SCO are evidence of the emergence of a multipolar world and an example of equal diplomacy. Even before the expansion of the BRICS group, the share of BRICS countries in global GDP at purchasing power parity was twice that of the G7. At the BRICS summit in Kazan in October 2024, specific proposals were put forward for the creation of a new settlement infrastructure and the formation of independent exchange and investment mechanisms. Work has begun on establishing a SCO development bank. These initiatives should increase the effectiveness of economic cooperation among the countries of the global majority and protect it from unfair competition. I would like to highlight the enormous potential of the G20. Its membership reflects contemporary geopolitical realities. It includes both dynamically developing new centers of growth and influence, including the BRICS countries and the G7 countries. We advocate the early implementation of agreements reached earlier within the G20 on strengthening the role of the Global South and East countries in the IMF and the World Bank, commensurate with their actual weight in the global economy and finance. It is also important to revive the WTO as the only recognized regulator of multilateral trade. At the same time, we proceed from the assumption that in its decisions, the G20 should, as was originally intended, focus on economic issues without getting involved in attempts to resolve military and political agenda items to the detriment of the prerogatives of the UN and its Security Council. Mr. President, South Africa's motto as head of the G20 is Ubuntu. It means I am because we are. In other words, it refers to the interconnectedness between peoples. We hope that the upcoming G20 summit in Johannesburg in November will send a powerful signal in line with this unifying philosophy and become an important milestone in addressing the many challenges of our time.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले.
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that we will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the U.S. will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry guards.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HD videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.